We started living in an old house. Mama gave birth and we were checking it out. It was a baby boy, so we bought him a toy. It was a ray gun, and it was 1981. We named him Baby. He had a toothache. He started crying. It sounded like an earthquake. It didn't last long because I stopped it. I grabbed a rag doll, stuck some little pins in it. Now we're a family, and we're alright now. We got money and a little place to fight now. We don't know you, and we don't know you. But if you see us around, I got something else to show you. It's easy when you don't know better. You think it's sleazy, then put it in a short letter. We keep warm, but there's just something wrong with you. Just feel that you're the hardest little button to button. I had an opinion that didn't matter. I had a brain that felt like pancake batter. I got a backyard with nothing in it except a stick, a dog, and a box with something in it. The hardest button to button. 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 Oh. The hardest button to button. The hardest button to button. Oh. The hardest button to button. The hardest button to button.
All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tight and flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn out the lights and out low to the extreme. I rock a mic like a vandal, light up a stage and wax a jump like a candle. Dance, rush the speaker that booms. I'm killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom, deadly. When I play a don't turn to
Welcome to the Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for Warm Takes. Please welcome to the stage one of your hosts for the evening, Corey Behringer.
He likes stand-up cliches, so that's how he opens his set. Hey, now the mic's on. How's it going? My name's Corey. I'm one of the co-hosts here at Warm Takes. You're the audience at Warm Takes. How you doing? Doing good? Wonderful, wonderful. What's Warm Takes? I'm about to tell you. Warm Takes is a semi-improvised stand-up show. So what we're going to do is we're going to have some of our favorite local stand-ups up here. They're going to do like a minute or so of their written material, stuff they've worked really hard on, and then we're going to say, screw that, and then we're going to throw random topics at them and watch them just riff and just watch the mind at work. That's what this show is all about, you know. It's a really fun show because it's real loosey-goosey. We're just trying to kind of find the magic in the moment. It's semi-improvised, though, because we're also on the other mic. We're kind of going back and forth. It's more of a rapport kind of thing. Yeah, a little less scary than actual improv, and it lacks the discipline. That's what I don't like about actual improv, is the discipline. Not a fan of discipline. Before I get into some written material, I kind of want to take a little pulse of the room. Whenever there's like new faces in the crowd, I want to know, how the hell did you find out about this show? Because you two bought tickets, right? I watched you. You can't say you didn't. You bought tickets. What made you come here tonight? Oh, okay. It's working. The show is working. I love it. That's great. That's great. I'm not the sort of comic who's going to be like, well, what's with your shirt and the thing? Yeah, I'm not like that. I'm a very friendly person. I like to talk about friendly things up here. But that said, I'm going to start my written portion of the set with a blistering hot take on Warm Takes. Here we go. Here's hot take. I think teeth are bullshit. Yeah, I said it. Teeth are bullshit. They don't make any sense to me. Their one job is to destroy food. And yet their greatest weakness is food. Doesn't make any goddamn sense to me. I hate teeth so much. So much. It's a passion of mine. They've even got doctors for teeth. You guys heard about these? And they're called dentists. These assholes make so much money. It's disgusting. Here's my impression of a dentist, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to chew your food? Okay, you fancy little princess. That'll be $1 million. They're very expensive, is what that joke's about. Very, very expensive. I'm a married fella. I'm a married guy. If you're not married, you ought to do it. It's a lot of fun. I like it. I like being married. It's important, though, to keep things exciting in a relationship. My wife and I have been married almost 2 years now. And, you know, it's not stale. I will not say it's stale, you know, but it's not stale because we put in the time and the effort. We make it exciting. We recently went to a sex shop together. Yes. And I'm not here to be dirty about it. That's not what this is about, you know. I just kind of want to talk about sex shops a little bit because Sacramento in particular, I think, has quite a bit of these sort of trendy, kind of hipster sex shops, very sex-positive sex shops, you know. Those aren't my bag. I don't care for those very much. I prefer my sex shops dingy and suspicious. That's how I prefer it. Because it's about the experience, you know, it's about the ambiance, you know, it's just the overall vibe of the place. I feel like when you go into these like nice sort of hipster sex shops, the person behind the counter, they look like they have their master's in gender studies. They're going to give you thoughtful recommendations. I don't want thoughtful recommendations. I want the person behind the counter to not meet my gaze because we're both doing a filthy thing. We're both wrong to be in here. I don't want to feel like a responsible adult. I feel like I want to be doing something wrong, bad. You know, basically my litmus test is this for a sex shop. If the floor isn't sticky, they're not getting my business. Not getting my business. I'm not going to tell you what we purchased at the sex shop. Okay, I'm not that kind of comic. You know, I will say that it takes 2 AA batteries. and we put it in my butt because that's where it goes. Where would you put it, my wife? You're disgusting. I think that's enough material for now. Let's do 3 random topics, and then we'll get this show going, so you can get a sense of what I'm gonna put the rest of the comics through. Okay.
All right, Corey. Native plants.
Native plants?
Yeah.
Oh, this feels like a trap. This feels like entrapment for white guilt. No. Native plants. Well, I don't know a whole lot about native plants in particular, but I will say I've recently become a plant daddy. Yeah, become a plant daddy. I finally got an office, like a job that had an office. So my wife was like, "You need a plant. That's what it has to be." And I feel like it's the first steps towards fatherhood. I think she wants to see if I can keep the plant alive, and then I can have a real kid. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that how it works? Is that the process?
That's how it works.
Yeah, I think some people start with the dog and then go to the child. I'm going from plant to human.
The dog is kind of high stakes.
Yes.
Okay. Fireplaces.
Fireplaces. They make me nervous. They make me nervous because here's what they really do. Beyond making me nervous, they make me feel inadequate. Fireplaces make me feel inadequate because they remind me that I'm not a responsible adult that can check to see if that shit's safe. You know, like, so one of my best friends in the world, he's no longer a chimney sweep, but for years he was a chimney sweep. And it's a strange thing about any occupation. You become snobbish in whatever that occupation is. So my friend Tony would just walk into a home. First thing he'd see the fireplace and he'd go, "All right, good luck." Just like that was his attitude with any time he would see a fireplace. And it just reminded me that any time that I saw a fireplace, which I live in an apartment with a fireplace, wood burning, we've never touched it because I'm terrified of burning down an entire building. And it's because I'm not a responsible adult. So fuck fireplaces. So.
All right. I'm glad that turned out to be a good topic. I had no idea. Okay.
You never do. That's the thing.
Last topic.
Okay.
Fancy places.
Fancy places.
Yeah.
Oh, the only type of place worth going to, right? I mean, I feel like in this day and age, if you are leaving the house, you are risking your life. Literally, you fine folk have risked it all to be here tonight. Is it worth it? I don't know. I hope to God it was worth it. And I'd like to think it will be worth it. But in that same regard, I feel like Stab is a fancy place. And I feel like I have such a standard that when I go out and about into the world, it needs to be a fancy place. You know, I don't want to waste my time, nay, my life, in anywhere that is not a fancy place. So big fan of fancy places.
Besides skeevy sex shops.
Well, those are fancy in their own special way.
Okay.
Those are fancy in the same way that what am I trying to think of? So you know how you go to the store sometimes and there will be a variety of condiments. I'm going somewhere with this. and one of the things there will be ketchup, there will be catsup, there'll be lots of varieties, but then there will be fancy ketchup. I feel like that we don't know why it's fancy. We just go with it. And that's how I feel about dingy sex shops. They're fancy, and we accept that they're fancy in their own way.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
Or at least I hoped it did. That's how this show works, is you just keep talking and talking, and eventually a point will present itself. So that's basically how the show works. Give it up for all the comics you're about to see. Yes. And keep that going for your next comic, the very funny Rhoda Ramone.
Okay, no worries. I know where they've been in a skeezy sex shop. Hi, how's it going, guys? Happy Saturday night. Fuck yeah. I'm in a cardigan and a, collared shirt on a Saturday night. I'm hip. I'm cool. My day job is as a project manager in higher education. And I really like it, but sometimes the faculty, I work really closely with the faculty, and they're a little high maintenance. But if you think about it, it's like, imagine getting to a milestone in your career, like tenure, where you can say and do whatever you want to do and not get in trouble for it. And then how could you not be a pain in the ass after that, right? I know that it would turn me into a total monster because this labor shortage that everyone's going through has turned me into a total monster. Like, I am getting away with more shenanigans than I ever have in my entire career. Like, I work for a very conservative office. So one day I just decided that I was going to stop covering up my tattoos, keep in my piercings, everything. I walked into a staff meeting and I was just like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? I've absorbed 3 people's jobs this year. Okay. Yes, that's the truth. I have headhunters contacting me regularly. Do you really want to get on my case over something so trivial? Okay. I have a nail appointment to get to, and then I'm going to have lunch with some friends. Okay. You think about it. I'll be back in a few hours. You get back to me. Let me know how it is. I swear to God, though, if I am so overwhelmed at work, if one more person quits, I'm just going to start vaping at my desk. Just talking to me like, I can do this job or I can be sober. But I can't do both. All right, hit me with it.
All right. Shark attack.
Shark attack. Oh, shit. Well, I wasn't gonna talk about this for a while, but you know what's something that you get so nervous about shark attacks sometimes, and that's something that you think about. But then you spend so much time getting scared of things like that, and then one day your brother calls you and he says, Dad relapsed, he's back on heroin and he's overdosing, can you come over and help us take him to the hospital? And I'm like, I wish I was being attacked by a shark right now.
Fantastic, Rhoda. Oh my God. Clown Town.
Clown Town. Clown Town is what people call you when you have to take your dad in after overdosing on heroin. I went into the ER and I'm checking him in and I'm trying really hard, like, yes, I'm a project manager in academia. I'm very smart. This man's overdosing on heroin and we think it was laced with fentanyl. Can you help him? They're like, Clown Town.
That felt like a cop-out, but I'm just going to go with it.
They look at you like you're trash, for real. Okay.
Let's see how you can turn this into a riff about your dad.
Okay.
3-day weekend.
Well, my 3-day weekend was really fucking ruined when I got that call. No. 3-day weekends are fun because you get on this thing and you think that you're going to have like a great time, but then you realize that's the time that everyone wants to schedule you to do work that's like manual labor. Like, come over and clean out the pool. It's a 3-day weekend. Why don't you spend your Saturday morning buying a bunch of food so we can get together and barbecue and then have to clean up after everybody afterwards? You don't want to rest at all for 3 whole days, do you?
What's the best 3-day weekend you've ever had?
Oh, man. The best 3-day weekend that I ever had was when I was able to just watch as much TV as I wanted to, and no one asked me to do anything or go anywhere, and I didn't have to put on makeup, and I didn't have to put on any, like, shapewear or just very comfortable sweats that the elastic was breaking apart in. Didn't do my hair, nothing. It was great. And I slept all day. For 3 days.
Give me some warm takes about Ray Liotta.
Oh man, R.I.P. Henry Hill. Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a tie between Goodfellas and Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion, which seem like 2 very different movies, but if you think about it, they're both just really about friendship. They're 2 movies about the importance of friendship and not ratting out on your friends. Ray Liotta was a really interesting actor because he kind of came out on the cusp of like that 70s era, like Scorsese mafia movies, which is totally my shit. I love it. Like, he's great in Goodfellas, but he also had this like very easy side to him that I think a lot of people miss. Like, he was in this movie called Karina with Whoopi Goldberg, which is actually a really cute movie where he plays this like widowed dad that's just trying to like make it for his children, and it's during segregation because it's like in the 50s, and he ends up falling in love with Whoopi Goldberg's character. And it's very like soft and endearing, which I think that was like a side of him that a lot of people didn't get to see. But at the same time, like when he died, I was like, I'm gonna watch that scene where he beats up the guy with the butt of the gun. But that's such a great thing. Like, if I can just go one more thing about that, like I read this great book called Pachinko, and they turned it into a show on Apple TV. And there's this scene where they're in Korea and it's occupied by Japan. It's in the 30s, and these Japanese men start assaulting one of these Korean women, and then this like gangster comes in and he clears everything out, and he like, instead of killing them, he gets them and he like roughs them up, and then he makes them get on their knees, and then he makes them like beg her for her forgiveness, and they tell her like, we're trash, please forgive us, because he knew it was way more torture to force them to live with the shame of what they had done than to just easily kill them and be done with it, right? And I was like watching that scene, and it reminded me of Goodfellas, when he finds out that like that his girlfriend Karen's being assaulted by this guy, or like harassed by this guy. So he shows up at his house and he beats the shit out of him with the butt of his gun. And then he hands her the gun and he says, hide this. And then she's like looking at the gun and she's like super freaked out, but also very turned on. And I loved the comparison of the two movies.
All right. I love when you talk about movies, so I'm going to give you one more topic here.
Okay.
What's your most controversial movie opinion?
I love Twilight.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
I've seen all 4 movies in the theater on opening night. I love Twilight. And I love Twilight because anybody that wants to call me like Philistine for liking Twilight, I can sit here and I'll talk movie theater with you all day. I don't give a shit. Like, I love Twilight. And if you just like watch Twilight in a frame of mind that you're just about to sit down and watch a trash movie, you have so much fun, especially the first one. It's totally like a B movie. If you look at it like that, it's camp and it's so much fun. And I just love the fact that like they were all so miserable making that series and that you could just tell. So I love watching Twilight, and then I love going on YouTube and watching them just like they were these people that had lived for centuries, and they were doctors and so well educated, like highfalutin people that drove like really fancy foreign cars. But then when they were like trying to figure out if Bella was pregnant with like a vampire baby, they were going on Google and like they were trying to read instead of reading like ancient texts or ancient scrolls, they were just like, oh, maybe we can find this in the library in Port Angeles. Like, it was just the whole lore is so ridiculous. And like, you couldn't pay me an immortal life to have to go back to high school. If someone was like, do you want to go back to high school again and again? I'd be like, I think I'll die. Like, it's fine.
Rhoda Ramone, everybody.
Thank you guys so much.
Keep that going for your next comic, Adam Strawbridge.
Thank you. My name's Adam Strawbridge. I'm the Christian comic who's not afraid to go there. It's a fun little sober given myself. I'm a cool Christian, though. I'm not like other Christians, so don't worry. Like, as a matter of fact, the exercise we're going to do, put your hands together if you had premarital sex. It's okay. Just put your hands together. Whoa, sorry. Excuse me. I didn't say clap. Put your hands together and pray. We're gonna lead us all in a little group prayer. It'll be very fun. I have some controversial opinions about Christianity. I'm pretty sure Jesus Christ was gay. It's not talked about enough. No straight guy over 30 has 12 friends, right? There's no way. Every time I see him on the cross, he's standing like this. Not exactly butch. I do think Jesus Christ was also kind of a drama queen, you know? He gets crucified one time, that's all he talks about. My guy. He holds a big dinner party with all his friends just to announce one of them will betray him. You know what I mean? That could have been an email. All right. Has that been a minute? That feels...
Yeah, that's plenty. You ready to rip?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Adam, tell me your thoughts on first aid.
First aid?
First aid.
First aid. Yeah.
First aid.
It's very important. Better than second or third aid for sure. Never had to give it myself. I think I'd be really bad at it. I'm very often in situations where something requires first aid and I'm like the third person on the scene.
Yeah.
And I think 3 is like I cannot be involved, right? Like persons 1 and 2 are sprinting over. I'm like holding a quick cannoli. I don't need to be involved, right? Am I a bad person for that? No. Great. problem solved.
So you don't think you're good in a crisis?
No, I'd much rather be not involved than involved if I have my choice. It's my preference.
All right. Favorite mythological figure?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Probably Bellerophon. He's a Greek warrior who killed the Chimera. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Y'all heard about this?
What's your favorite thing about Bellerophon?
The name, folks.
Oh.
Folks, it's the name. And he's hot. Well, we don't know that, I guess. But the images I've seen, they're actually all pretty hot, I guess, if you think about it. They're all 10s. Love that for them.
Okay, sell me on something.
Sell you on... Okay. Have you read Animorphs?
I've read some Animorphs.
You need to read all the Animorphs.
Should I finish Animorphs?
You should start it again.
I should start over?
Yes, with a fresh perspective.
Okay, what perspective should I take going into it?
Just how bonkers it is. It just begins with middle schoolers being told that, like, hey, there's a race of parasitic aliens who are infecting everyone on Earth, probably your parents already, and they're going to commit a kind of interplanetary genocide. But here, you touch this box, and you can turn into, like, a golden retriever. And that'll stop them. And the kids are like, "Aye."
That's pretty tight.
It's very tight.
Okay, elote.
Say again?
Elote?
Elote.
The corn stuff?
The corns. I was like, I should know what that means. My bad Californian if I don't have a lot of familiarity. Yeah. Damn. I'm really into Napole's cactus. That's close. It's adjacent. Right?
That's like so like trendy or hipstery.
Elote?
I feel like.
Do I give up hipster?
Elote is classic.
Hmm.
Okay, fine. You didn't know elotes. How about bad kissers?
Also, not a lot of familiarity with that. Frankly, it's never crossed my desk. I don't understand. I don't know. This is actually sincere. I don't know how you can be really bad at sex. It seems as though you just. How do you get like when girls describe? How are dudes really bad? There's like no rhythm. Is it just like a durational aspect, or is it
kind
like
of a like jabbing and?
But it's like, fellas, it's a very one-to-one. It's like it's not. I don't know. I'm always like shook when I hear about guys being really bad at sex. Maybe I'm terrible at sex. Maybe. Whoop. No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I'm great.
You're great at. Okay, he's great at sex. You heard it here first. Okay. How about miniature things?
Again, not a lot of experience.
Get out more,
Most
man.
of my things I deal with are pretty big. Talking about my dick. I love miniature golf. I'm a big fan of that. I haven't played it in a long time. It's a great. It feels like Americana to me. You know, like I feel like Europeans don't have miniature golf. Are you European? Yeah. You don't have miniature golf. Fuck. Damn, Europe 1, America 0. Yet again. That's great. Oh yeah, because there's always windmills. And Europeans love windmills. And they love doing things in smaller, denser spaces than we do. So actually all makes sense.
Okay, what's the worst emoji?
Oh.
I
I love them all. I actually made the worst one ever. I shaved my head early in the pandemic, and then I edited the guy who's doing this like, and I made him bald.
You can do that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
So it's just this bald yellow man looking at you like this. That's pretty terrifying. So that might be the worst. Not into it. The best one is the angry turned on face.
Oh.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
they're seething, but they're horny.
Is that the one with the purple one with the horns, or?
Oh no, sorry. There's angry horny, and then there's mad devil, or like sad horny. Yeah, it's like a purple devil, but he's frowning. It's
It's like
confusing.
fuck me or else.
Fuck me or else, exactly.
All right. Making friends.
Man, that's tough. I don't know. I haven't done it for a while. That's not true. I play Dungeons and Dragons a lot. That's a great way to make friends. If anyone needs to make friends, you should get involved in a extremely long time commitment tabletop role playing game. That's what you should do. And you should take it really seriously, and you should lose friends over decisions made in that game, as I have done. So that's my advice.
What's your most common character in D&D?
Well, you know, I like to, variety's the spice of life. I like to do everything. I have a character named Nasty Nate.
What's Nasty Nate?
He's a little gnome. And he's nasty. That's pretty much all you need to know.
Okay,
It's none of your business. No, I'm just
let's
kidding.
put our hands together for Adam Strawbridge.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh. And let's welcome to the stage Sarah Dutcher. Sarah Dutcher, everybody.
All right, since you guys seem pretty nerdy, I decided 15 seconds ago to talk about this. It's actually like a real problem I have on stage is talking about being a nerd, because I know I look like a valley girl. Like, I look like the only magic potions I'm into are like essential oils. Like, jokes on everyone else, I'm into astrology. Like, I know, like, that's just like the vibe I give off. But honestly, I'd rather look like one of the elves from Lord of the Rings. Like Legolas, Galadriel, man or woman, I don't care. They're both a couple of hot blondes. Like, that's what I'm going for. Like, I got this haircut after I saw the new Star Wars, and I saw Kylo Ren. I'm like, I can pull that off. Like, we have the same hair texture. All right, I don't know if that's been a minute.
That's
Right,
funny. You want to riff? You ready to riff?
Yeah, let's rip
All
and
right,
riff.
Sarah. Tell me your thoughts on the best beverage in the world.
Oh my god, my fridge is full of beverages. This is so hard. Right now it's cold brew coffee. Like, I don't know, it just makes me feel a little better than everyone else. That I can make it at home. I go to Starbucks, like, I'm not gonna pay $4 for your garbage cold brew. Like, I have it at home. I go to Temple Coffee, I get like the expensive shit. I'm like, you know, this wasn't made with slave labor, so it tastes pretty good.
Yeah, the coffee tastes sweeter when
Literally
slaves weren't
tastes
involved.
sweeter when they're like, oh my god, orphans didn't cry while we picked this.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell me your thoughts on car maintenance.
Oh boy. I describe my Prius as the most busted up Prius you've ever seen. I take really good care of its insides, right? Like, I just got the oil change. I have them replace all the fluids every time, whatever. But like 4 or 5 years ago, I scraped up the side paneling. And I've never done anything about it. And like, my new apartment parking lot is like really small. And so like, I think people keep hitting up the bumper. And I'm like, I don't really care. I'm like, why should I? It's just like the car. It's the inside that counts, right?
Yeah.
Right? I'm not gonna judge someone for their car.
And if you fixed it, they would just keep backing into it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Tell me your thought on tools.
Why? They're pretty useful. If you
Do you know how to fix anything?
Yeah, I can fix up a smoothie.
Yeah. So blender is your tool of
Yeah,
choice.
no, I think I did have to go out and buy a second hammer because I got one of those like 3-in-1 tools, and the hammer actually wasn't like heavy enough to nail anything into my wall. So I started using my hairbrush, and now my brush is all busted up. Like,
Oh no.
welcome to my life. Like,
Okay. Tell me your thoughts on reality television.
ooh, okay, it's got to be the most wholesome, cutest, or the worst. It's like the Great British Bake Off, or like Love on the Spectrum, or America's Next Top Model, where like after I watch the weigh-in episode, I'm like crying. That's really the two things I want. I want like 20 women all screaming at each other in like really pretty makeup. Or I want like, you know, someone like, I made a cake and it expressed like, it's like represents my love for my family.
Aww.
Like, those are my only two settings.
Wait, they weigh the models on America Top Model?
Well, they did for the first few seasons, and they're like, maybe we should cut this because like like Tyra's doing the whole like, we care about body positivity. You're 6 feet tall and 130 pounds. I think you need to like tone it up, you know? It's
Wow. What are
anyway.
your thoughts on working out?
If you can trick yourself into working out, that's the key. You might know this. My ex-husband, married to for 9 years, was a personal trainer. It was not a good time. I mean, it's an ex-husband, like, kind of a parent. But yeah, like being in a gym culture, like even like this gym was like actually really cool people. Like the trainers were more about like your overall like wellness compared to like random trainers I've met. I still hate it. You cannot convince me that going for a walk is exercise, that dancing is exercise, or like squatting while you brush your teeth. That doesn't count as exercise. That's just a way to fill the time because I have ADHD and I get bored while I brush my teeth. Like,
All right, dream job.
oh, actually, I talked about this the other day, so I have a very specific answer.
Cool.
Being a face painter at a Kakapo reservation.
At a what reservation?
So kakapos are an endangered species of parrot endemic to New Zealand. Their population is recovering. So round of applause for the kakapos finally fucking.
Yay.
Thank you. We all got like some like net karma from applauding that. So good for us. I know how karma works. But like, so there's so few now that they all live on one national park in New Zealand. And I'm like, you know what the national park should have? Me. But like, I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not a biologist or anything. So I need to make a job for myself. And so I have a Pinterest board that's just face painting. in case I get there.
Have you ever face painted?
I mean, I did my makeup today.
That's fair.
I'm a dreamer.
Okay, I think you can do it. Okay, tell me your thoughts on wind chimes.
They have to be in the right key. I didn't know they came in keys. Like, cause you know, like growing up in our neighborhood, like every house had a wind chime, and it was terrible, right? Until you go to Home Depot and like they tell you like the key, like these chimes are all in this key. So like when you move into a new neighborhood, it should be common courtesy to be like, all right, like what key are we all working in? Like we don't want any minor keys. Like we're trying to have a good time at our Memorial Day barbecue.
Yeah, that's a good way to make a barbecue spooky really fast.
Halloween chimes. That could be a different thing, I guess.
That could be a good thing. Well, thank you, Sarah. Good
Yeah.
riffing.
Thank
Let's
you.
put our hands together for Sarah. And let's welcome to the stage Chaz Hawkins.
Hello, how are you guys doing? Cool, me too. I realized the other day that the group Earth, Wind, and Fire, they were one member away from creating Captain Planet. I hate when people are trying to be edgy. Sometimes people, they think they're edgy, but they really just have a mohawk. And like you know, now it's that like that's a hairstyle that everybody has. So like if you wanted to be edgy, like the hairstyle you probably need would be like a Jerry curl at this point. That's probably the edgiest hairstyle in the game. Think about like the edgiest rap group of all time, right? NWA. Everybody knows that. Now, were they edgy because they were saying fuck the police? Like, I don't know. Like, I really think it's just because there was 4 dudes with Jerry curls and nobody ever brought that shit up. Like, not once. Maybe you can't get the Jerry curl, you know, maybe you're not black like me, and you have to get the white version of it, which would be the mullet. And you guys know what they say about the mullet. They go business up front, party in the back. My only problem with that is like, who the fuck is doing business with you? Have you ever been in a business meeting and you're like, man, you know what really set this meeting off? If Meth Head Matt was here. with his acid wash 3-piece suit and his adventures at the creek.
You want some riffing?
Yeah,
Okay,
let's go.
all
Let's
right,
go. Let's
all right.
stop these fucking jokes.
Talk about a haunted water park.
I mean, to me, any water park is scary because I can't swim. So it's like the thing about ghosts being there too. It's like I'm already dead. Like I'm actually about to turn into you. So I guess.
What was your favorite TV mom?
Favorite TV mom. I don't I don't know why, but the only one that's coming to mind is Harriet from like Family Matters.
Sure.
I didn't really like her, but I just she's the only one that's in my mind right now. I don't know. I just remember her hair and everything, and she just All
right, we'll move on. What do you think is the dumbest animal?
The dumbest animal. Probably the hermit crab.
Explain.
Because, like, why not just get a big shell in the first place? It's like it starts small, and then it's like, oh shit, this like I've outgrown this place. Like I could see the first time, you don't know, but then like the second and third time, you're just fucking stupid at that point.
Where's the forethought, hermit crabs?
Yeah,
I'm with you. Fuck them.
Gonna get a lot of hermit crab hate right now.
What was your like? It doesn't have to be high school, but like, what was your phase that you had at some point in your childhood? A lot of times people have like a high school phase. Sometimes it's like a junior high phase. Like, did you have any kind of phase where you were like trying to figure yourself out?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I like there was a phase where okay, I know this sounds stupid, but it's just like, how you watch the show Power Rangers and like all the Power Rangers, they wear the color of whatever their ranger is. So my thought was like, if that is ever real, I need to pick my colors now.
Just in case.
Yeah, so when Zordon calls me up to the big leagues, I'm, it's like, oh shit, I was wearing pink that day. Now I'm Pink Ranger.
What's your thoughts about gambling?
I don't know. I mean, people need to do it. I don't know. It's like it doesn't really like I don't know. It doesn't get to me. Like every time I go to a place where I can't gamble, it's I kind of have a set amount that I hate losing. And so when it's like I'll go past that. Don't get me wrong.
So you don't hate it that much.
Yeah, but it's just like fuck, and then it's like I don't know. There's like it seems like there's like I don't know two chances like within the night where you're like, oh, this is it, and then it's not it. And it's like, oh yeah, there's this fucking amazing casino. How are they able to afford this? It's like, oh, me. Like, it's just a bunch of me's.
That's
here.
the secret.
That's why the buffet's free.
Skydiving.
I would never do it. I don't have that much trust in my packing abilities. It's like because that even if that does happen, like it's like that. I guess the experience is cool up until that last moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it could be fun, but I guess like the first, like it's one of those things where like the first time you do it, you can't do it yourself. You have to go tandem, and it's just like being strapped to somebody else, and it's just like what if this fucking person is stupid? And it's like and they might have to drop some weight, so you're gonna be the first one to go.
Okay, last topic. What's your most controversial music opinion?
Man, I'm like scared to say it.
This is a safe place, okay? This is a safe space right now.
It's just being streamed though, so I don't know. I think Rihanna and Beyonce are even.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, see,
I
I
mean-
told you I didn't want to say that shit.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay. So, all right, let's get a little specific. Well, I mean, we're already over time, but I can't leave it just at that.
Okay.
Is it like singing ability specifically, or is it just their overall personas, like as star power? Is that what you're like comparing?
Yeah,
and then they're equal out, or like, would you say that they are equally matched talent-wise?
I would say not equally matched talent-wise,
Okay.
but as far as like catalog and music, and then there's some songs where it's like it's a Beyonce song, but I hear it and it's like it kind of sounds like it's a Rihanna song.
Mm.
And there's some Beyonce songs, or I think I just said
I
the
get
same
you.
thing, but
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I
So,
get you.
Yeah, and like as time goes by, I mean they still make music, but I don't know. I just fucking love Rihanna, man.
Chaz Hawkins, everybody.
Hey, guys.
All right, folks, we've reached the almost end of the show. Put your hands together for the special guest co-host of the evening, Emily Peterson.
Hey guys, how's it going? So I found myself a boyfriend. I'm pretty psyched about it. Yeah, we talk a lot about stuff like you do in a relationship. Recently we were talking about music, and we were listening to some music, and that Bruno Mars song Grenade came on. You guys know that song? Oh, you want me to sing it? Okay. It goes something like, I'd catch a grenade for ya, put my hand on a blade for ya, I'd jump in front of a train for ya. And he's really upset in this song because he would do all this shit for this girl and she won't do the same. But honestly, I feel like that's good. Because what's the point of having two grenade catchers in the same relationship? I feel like every relationship should have a designated knife grabber, grenade catcher, train jumper in fronter of, because that gives the other person valuable time to escape. And I was having this important conversation with my partner, a conversation you should have with your partner. It's, am I the grenade catcher or are you the grenade catcher? Am I the grenade catcher or are you the grenade catcher? We went back and forth for a little while, but I finally won, and it's me. I get to be the grenade catcher, and hopefully I'll get out of this fucking nightmare a little sooner. I'm ready to riff!
Yes, you are, Emily. All right, I hope you don't mind. I've kind of saved all the weird ones for you.
Oh,
Is that okay?
I'm into it, yeah.
I usually write some weird prompts. This time I was just feeling it out. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go easy on the normal guests. I'm gonna let you have it. Okay.
Let's get weird. Okay.
All right. Teach a mummy how to kickflip.
Okay. So first, the mummy and I would spend a considerable amount of time on the internet so that I could learn how to kickflip. We'd probably get derailed a few times on the internet, like one does. We'd learn a couple of different recipes, probably, and then we'd get back to YouTube to kickflip. Spend all day in a park trying to figure it out with the mummy. Get ridiculed by small, talented people who are much better at it than us. Cry, use the mummy's wrappings to dry my tears. Eventually, master the kickflip and really bang the shit out of my ankles and get really upset for the rest of the day.
Solid.
Yeah.
Solid. Let me see here. Ballerina booty call.
Ballerina booty call. Okay, so I would ballerina booty call.
What does that mean to you?
What does that mean to me? Okay, so it's either booty calling a ballerina, which I feel like is disrespectful of the ballerina because like she's worked so hard to be a ballerina, and she deserves like a call before like midnight because she probably has to wake up very early, and that should be taken into consideration. But if we're inventing like a new form of booty call called the ballerina booty call, I feel like that could involve just lend itself to being a very like artful hookup or something. like playing classical music, some Tchaikovsky while you hook up, and that could be nice. Doing some pliés all days. Yeah, so I feel like we should leave the real ballerinas alone in this situation, but if we want to have a new kind of booty call, that's okay.
Solid.
Okay.
Explain childbirth to the Blue Man Group.
All right, Blue Man Group. Here's what's gonna happen. The baby is in there. Are you familiar with babies? They're like small humans, and they're inside what's called a uterus. It's pretty gross. But what the point is, we need to get this child out. Okay, enough with the drums. Enough with the drums. We're not doing it. I'm here today to teach you about childbirth, Blue Man Group. I'm not sure why we're here, but we're gonna get through this. Okay, so they're in the uterus. At the bottom of the uterus, there's this thing called a cervix, also gross. It's like a tissuey donut, and that's gonna get bigger. Okay, this is gross. This is gross. I'm losing that Blue Man. Blue Man, come back, come back. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Okay, can you paint me blue? This is gross. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Okay, still kind of talking about babies, though.
Okay.
What are the worst baby names?
The worst baby names are anything that are like end in lay, or like Cresley or Annalay. That sounds like anally. I don't like those. Anything too trendy, where it's like there's gonna be like a whole classroom full of people with these like funny names that are strange. I think we should go back to like giving people old people names. I want to see more Bettys and Irvs, like little children, little babies named Irv. I feel like that would be adorable. And less Cresleys and everything. Like it's not that good of a name.
All right, last topic here.
Okay.
Talk about an unintentionally funny moment that you've had before.
I feel like anytime I'm not on stage, anytime I'm funny, it's unintentionally, and the laughter is at my expense. I feel like I go through life just very. I'm a strange being. So I get, when I was a kid, I got laughed at a lot. I have a lisp, and people think that's hilarious. So, and sometimes I'll get complimented on my lisp. People will tell me that my lisp is cute, and that makes me want to defenestrate myself very badly. So if you ever feel like compelled to tell somebody they have a cute lisp or speech impediment or fake leg, maybe like don't do that, because I don't know, maybe if it's a really cute fake leg, maybe you can. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I'm an incredibly silly person, and that's basically all there is to it. Hell
Emily
yeah.
Peterson, everybody.
Thank you, Corey.
Well, folks, thank you so much for coming out. This has been Warm Takes. We do this show every fourth Saturday of the month, damn near every fourth. So we're going to be back at it next month. Please come on out. I hope you two enjoyed it. Stick around for the 9 o'clock if you want. We're throwing together a last-minute kind of stand-up show. I'll be on it. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Like Drew said, we'd love it if you guys stuck around. We're trying to cobble it together. Unfortunately, Drew Absher and crew won't be joining us tonight because they're off sporting something. But if you guys want to stick around, would love to have you. I'm talking partly to the comics as well, if you want to do some more time. So hopefully we'll have something together here for the 9 o'clock. If not, the stream will end unceremoniously. But let's hope we do. Hang in there. We'll be back in a couple minutes, hopefully. Welcome to the Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for The Replacement Killers. Please welcome to the stage your host, Corey Behringer.
Well, hello there. Hello. I'm your host, which means I'm the first one that gets to tell you what I think about stuff. That's really what stand-up is. It's just telling you what I think about stuff. So here's what I think. I think the cutest thing about biker gangs has got to be the matching vests. Okay? And it's not just because they look adorable. Of course they do. It's the thought that goes into them, you know? It's the time and attention to detail. Those vests are their way of saying, hey, we've been thinking about you, and we'd like you to join our crime club. Isn't that just the sweetest? I love that so much about bikers. Because the more you think about it, the more you realize you can't just go to the store and buy one of those vests, you know, prefab, ready to go. No. Someone has to take the time to hand stitch all the tough guy stuff on there for you. Which means, of course, that someone had to stop doing crank for a few minutes. And if that ain't love, I don't know what is. I do not know. Speaking of love, I'm a married man. I'm a married fella. I've been married almost 2 years now. And it's been great. Wow, that was a delayed reaction. You know what? And I'm not one of those comics who waits for the reaction, but I had to acknowledge it when it crept up on me. You know? So, well, yeah, I've been married basically a couple years now. My wife kept her maiden name, or as she likes to call it, her name. Because that's what it is, you know? It has been for literally her entire life. Who am I to change it now? That's what I thought about it. In fact, I think it's a little weird we still even use that term, maiden name. It feels archaic, doesn't it? Maiden name. I don't know about you, but I associate the word maiden with pretty much just one other thing, dragons. See, dragons kidnap and devour maidens. It's kind of their whole shtick, you know. So I guess in that regard, I do feel some relief knowing that my wife will probably just confuse every dragon she meets. You know, of course, they'll think she's a maiden, you know, but then they'll see her wedding ring just before they swoop down and be like, pass. I like them young and unwed, and then just fly away into the night. That was my impression of a dragon for you. Yeah. I'm actually a very good impressionist. Would you like some more impressions? Yes, of course you would. Here's some impressions. This is a toddler who's also a hotshot Hollywood agent. And he has some notes on snack time. Okay. So I love where you're going with PB&J. It's fantastic. You know, it's got everything. It's got the peanut butter. It's got the jelly. It's perfect. I love it. I love you. Don't change a goddamn thing. But let me ask you, are you married to the crust? That was a toddler who is also a hotshot Hollywood agent. Thank you. Thank you. This next piece, it deserved that. Thank you. It deserved what you just gave it. Thank you. This next piece is a young German boy who is very excited because he just ran into his favorite superhero. Okay, young German boy, favorites. You got it. Guten Tag, von der Vermen. That was a young German boy who is very excited because he just ran into his favorite superhero. Thank you. Diminishing returns, I noticed. Diminishing returns. Okay, this last impression for now is my impression of someone listening to the Beach Boys for the very first time. Ooh. These boys love beaches. What'd you say they were called again? Shut up. That was someone listening to the Beach Boys for the first time. Thank you. Thank you. You guys ever seen a firefighter that wasn't a hunk? And you just think to yourself, what's the point? Because they're supposed to be hunks, right? That's the social contract we've all signed, is that firefighters are supposed to be hunks. So it's very jarring when you see one that isn't hunky, you know. You want to take him aside and be like, sweetie, look, you do not have to keep risking your life like this. No one is putting you on their calendar. It's just not worth the risk. Just not worth it. I I do occasionally enjoy indulging in some completely legal drugs. I do enjoy an edible from time to time. Does anyone here like getting high and experiencing cartoons on a deeper level? Yes. That is my favorite stoned activity. I'm not an exciting sort of person with that. I don't like to venture outside the home. I like to get very, very stoned on a very high sort of capacity edibles, and I experience cartoons on a deeper level. I was recently watching 101 Dalmatians with my wife, and at one point, way too early in the movie, I just turned to her so excited and I say, "It's just jazz, baby. It's all just jazz." And it's true. That movie is just jazz. Because that's the funny thing about like taking those sort of edibles and like feeling like you're understanding things on a deeper level. Because sometimes it's not true, but sometimes it absolutely is true. And sometimes it can change your goddamn life. There was a fairly more recent time that... Well, I'll just tell you this first. I recently came out to my wife as bi. This was, less than several months ago, okay? And this happened because I got high and watched The Pebble and the Penguin. Has anyone? Okay, we got one pebble head in the crowd. All right. Okay. All right. I'm not that surprised that didn't get an applause break. Because not a lot of people have seen The Pebble and the Penguin. This was a animated musical comedy from the mid-'90s, and it tells the story of an effeminate little penguin who's madly in love with a lady penguin. Ooh, yes. And he goes on this journey back home so he can deliver the lady penguin a pebble so he can have sex with her. That's the plot of the film. And he's joined on this journey by a boy penguin who he has quite a bit of sexual tension with. Or so my brain told me. And because this whole movie is set to original songs by Barry Manilow, and the villain is played by Tim Curry, you couldn't make this movie gayer if you tried, is what I'm getting at. It's just beautiful. And so before I saw this movie, I had a lot of reservations about ever possibly coming out to my wife, let alone myself, because I had all these hang-ups about I had never, I'd only ever been with women before. I married a woman. I only plan on being with this one woman. So I had these concerns of like being an interloper or, taking up space in a community I didn't belong in and taking an identity I didn't deserve, basically. But then I watched this movie and it occurred to me that, hey, if that fruity little penguin can marry a lady penguin and still be queer as hell, so can I. That was this liberating moment for me. And so the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm thinking about this. And I'm not saying a word to her. She's also on the couch. She's also stoned. But it's all just up here. I'm having these revelations. So I wait for the movie to be over, and I turn to her and I say, it's actually kind of cool. This movie made me realize how bi I am. And she took a beat, and she said, okay, I love my bi husband. And immediately I felt relieved, because obviously that's a very vulnerable thing to do. But then there was a long pause. Like what felt like an eternity of silence, really. Was probably 30 seconds, but we're stoned, remember? So there's this long pause of silence, and then she gets up to leave. She starts to walk out of the room, but then she stops, and she looks back at me, and she says, so just to be clear, you're not just gay for penguins, right? That's how I knew we were going to be okay. It's funny, though, when you talk about those, like, those were very genuine reservations I had about not wanting to take up that space and, not wanting to be perceived as, like, some, essentially poser, But then, like, less than a week later, I just start proclaiming things to her from a place of authority. I'm just like, honey, Scooter from the Muppets is a bi icon. And I do not need to explain myself. Look at him. But, if you actually think about it more, all the Muppets are actually pan. It's pretty obvious, especially Gonzo. That guy's up for anything. People have some pretty shitty opinions. I think we all know this, right, this day and age. But what's wild to me is how some people justify those shitty opinions. I once overheard someone say that they couldn't possibly be racist because they own several Los Lonely Boys albums. What? I didn't know there were several Los Lonely Boys albums. Who bought the first 2 Los Lonely Boys albums and was like, I need one more at least. Give me some more of that sweet Texican blues rock. I don't know. Of course, the most efficient way of expressing your shitty opinion with the world is the bumper sticker. Has been for years. It's not going out of fashion. It gets the job done, basically, is the bumper sticker. I saw a bumper sticker that was 5 guns above the words, my family. Tells you a lot about the driver, doesn't it? Led me to assume that that man makes love to a rifle he calls his wifle. I'm no detective, but I deduced that one there for you. He also had a no fear sticker on his truck, which I found very dishonest, you know, because he's full of fear. You see, that's what these people function on, is fear. I'd like to design a brand new sticker, one to be placed beneath the no fear sticker, make it a whole lot more honest to onlookers. You know? So instead it would read, no fear, except intimacy. Because these men are not cuddlers, you guys. Daddy did not hug the no fear customer. I don't have that problem with intimacy, thankfully. You know, if anything, I have the opposite issue. I'm a very clingy and needy lover, if you must know. And you must know. But I'm very lucky in that regard because I've married someone equally as codependent as me. And it's a beautiful thing, truly. You know, sometimes we'll just be lying in each other's arms at night, and I'll think to myself, you know, who trapped who? And if you didn't laugh at that, you don't know what love is. That is a love joke. I'm going to talk about a couple more things, and then we'll get this show on the road. Haven't talked to my dad in a while. That's fine. He's a dick. I don't want to talk to him. It's fine. One of the last things he said to me, he called me a communist, and he meant it as an insult, like a really harsh insult. Coming from a conservative Christian father, that's a harsh insult, being called a communist, you know. But I was flattered. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. You think I'm smart enough to be a communist? Look, I have a few communist friends, not to brag. And it always struck me as something that required way too much homework. I don't want to put in the time and the effort to be a communist. I'm not smart enough to be a communist, basically. I don't know. I'll tell you, though, my favorite experience I think I've had with my father, now especially in hindsight and everything, you know, having not spoken to him in quite a while, was the one time that that I had something on him, basically. And this is sort of a roundabout way of a bit that I've told for years, so excuse me if it's clumsy, but I also didn't know I was doing the show until 10 minutes before the show. So some people out there call it Fanta, but I say Fanta. And I think that's okay. Okay? I think it's those differences that make us beautiful as a society. But some people disagree. Okay, some people find it pretentious. I don't know, maybe. But I'm sticking to my guns on this one, okay? Because so far, it's the only argument I've truly won against my father. Because he overheard me say Fanta, and he corrected me. He said, well, you know, son, it's actually pronounced Fanta. You sound like a jerk. To which I replied, au contraire, father. I do believe the beverage has a jingle. And that jingle goes, wanna Fanta, don't you wanna? Wanna Fanta. The last I heard, it was not, Wanta Fanta! And then his head exploded and I became a man. Let's hear it for all the comics you're going to see tonight. We have such a fun lineup we threw together last minute for you with some heavy hitters. So please keep that going. For a personal favorite of mine, Roto Ramon!
Give it up for your host, Corey. Yes. Good to be here tonight. My name is Rhoda Ramon. I am from Lodi, California. If you're not familiar, it's kind of, growing up was thought as a little bit of a podunk town, a lot of farmland and stuff. But a couple of years ago, someone came in and said, hey, we grow the grapes here. Let's drink the wine too, right? So they brought in all this industry. We've seen tremendous growth over the last decade. They even gave us this really cool little nickname. Now Lodi, California is Loca. Loca, which I love because now I get to see all the high maintenance people I went to high school with hashtag themselves as crazy. Wine tasting with the besties, hashtag Loca. Bitch, we know, okay? You tried to poison your boyfriend's dog because he was getting more attention than you were. Right. Then you try to fight his wife at her job. You done been hashtag Loca. Just relax. Someone brought up skydiving in the last show, and I was thinking about how Lodi, California has this one skydiving place where literally 30% of the skydivers that die in this country are from the skydiving place in Lodi. And this guy looks like Larry David, and he doesn't give a shit. He's just like, oh, they died. Well, like, they signed a waiver. So, like, no remorse whatsoever. It's fucking horrible. He's just in it, and he's, like, disgusting, too. So at this point, I'm just kind of like, well, I mean, it's always sad when someone gets hurt, but I'm like, I mean, it's like, you're going to a skydiving place essentially run by a carny. Like, do you really want to do that with your life? It's kind of funny. As my day job, I'm a project manager in higher education. And I work a lot with the faculty, like the professors and stuff. And I really like the job. But sometimes the faculty are like kind of high maintenance. And they have a right to be because they're like rock stars. Like, they just know all this knowledge and they bestow upon it, you know, to their students, and then they get to, like, you know, keep the knowledge and charge people a lot of money to give it to them, and then they get to judge them based on their performance in their class. Like, I'm like, dream job. But like I said, they're high maintenance, but I don't blame them for being pains in the ass because I can't imagine reaching a career milestone like tenure where you can do and say whatever you want and not get in trouble for it, right? I know that I would be a monster because the labor shortage has turned me into a monster. And I know you guys already heard this joke, so forgive me. But like, I am getting away with so much bullshit now because I've absorbed 3 people's jobs, right? One day I just decided I was gonna stop covering up my tattoos and taking out my piercings. And I showed up into my office staff meeting like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? I have headhunters contacting me regularly. Do you really wanna get on my case over something so trivial? Okay. I have a nail appointment to get to, and then I'm gonna have some lunch with friends, okay? I'll be back in a few hours. You think about it, you get back to me. Let me know how it goes. There's so much turnover in my office right now. I swear to God, if one more person leaves, I'm just gonna start vaping at my desk. Just, I can keep working here or I can be sober, but I can't do both. I'm telling you now. I love working in higher education, though, because the campuses are always beautiful, and I just love learning. I try to be a lifelong learner. My favorite subject is history, because when I feel anxious about the world as it is, I think and I go back and hit up my history books, and I realize that people have always been shitty and stupid from the beginning, and it just brings me a sense of peace. But it's very limited to how I like to absorb history, right? It's people always come up to me and they're like, okay, if you could go back to any time in history, where would you go? And I tell them I would not. I would not leave 2022. Here's why. Guys, like, there's nowhere in history that bodes better for me than 2022 does, right? Like, Latinas to this day are still one of the lowest paid minority groups in this country. Why would I want to travel back in time and be more broke than I already am? Like, I don't. Plus, I know what it's like to exist before a time when there was good hair straighteners and comfortable shapewear, and I don't even want to go back there. Like, it's a lot better of a situation for me here in 2022. But like I said, the way that I absorb history, the way I learn about history is very limited. Like, I don't even like, you know, going to historical reenactments like Williamsburg or Jamestown. because the people there are always so fucking annoying. Like, you make eye contact with one of the actors, they're like, "Hey, little lady, why don't you grab a gift shop down at the trinket place?" And I'm like, "All right, Prospector Bodie, there were no gift shops during the gold rush, okay? Only rattlesnakes and broken dreams, right? Tell me where the funnel cakes are and get out of my face." I don't even like staying at like historical hotels. Like, a friend of mine loves going and staying at like Victorian era hotels. And I don't like it because it's never this like pimped out place with all the amenities that just kind of resembles the Victorian era. It's always a condemned building covered in lace. Like, I just walk in, I'm like, this ain't ADA compliant. Like, this is nothing. I went up to the concierge desk and I was like, "Can I have the Wi-Fi password?" And they're like, "Oh, there's no Wi-Fi, but it is haunted." Yeah, child died of typhoid fever right over there. We call him Casper. It's boo-fi, if you will. I'm like, oh God, this is gonna be a shitty weekend. I think part of it is just that at the end of the day, like, I am a modern woman. I know that I need 21st century technology in order to thrive and survive, right? Like, I have the worst sense of direction than anybody that I know. I get lost in my hometown regularly. I would not be able to do stand-up without Google Maps. Like, the fact that I got here was just like a miracle unto itself. One time I was in Fresno, my Google Maps blanked out, and I was like, "This is where I die. I guess I just live here on the 99 in Fresno now. It's fine." But if someone were to hand me a map, I don't even know what I would do. Like, it would turn into like one of those after-school specials from the 90s where you realize that the new like mysterious friend that comes into town is illiterate, you know, and there's always some big dramatic scene at the end, like, "I never learned how, okay?" That's how it would be if someone handed me a map. Then all the actors come out at the end just like, "Do you or someone you know not know how to read paper maps? There's hope for you yet. Dial 1-800-DUMB-BITCH. Let us help you." I can't help it. I do have a horrible sense of direction. Last weekend, I got lost in an IKEA for like an hour. I was just making a loop around. And finally, I got downstairs, and I was so frazzled, I had to buy myself one of those like cinnamon rolls. And my husband just found me out on the corner frantically licking it. Like, "I did it. I made it out of the maze of Swedish consumerism. I did it. I did it. I live to fight another day." He was like, "Let's get you home and build that bookshelf. It's going to be all right." The same friend that loves staying at Victorian hotels also is always sending me stuff like, what if we just like lived off the grid and went and lived in the forest and raised our children in this community of like love and friendship? And then I always reply back to her like, "No, I do not want to join your cult. No, thank you." Because in order to live off the grid, you have to be willing to coexist with nature, which I know I cannot do. Here's why. One night, I did a show up in the mountains, and as I came out, there was a very vicious gang of deer hanging out on the golf course, and I got very scared, so what I did was I took out my knife, and I ran to my car. So I basically handle the wild animal the same way I handle a strange man coming up to me after one of my sets. Just to give me a few tips about it, right? Just go like, "Get too close, get cut." I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I want you to be very honest with me. Are you in the mood for a very, very dark joke? Are you sure? Okay. Okay, there's no going back. If you're dealing with a strange man and you want to get out of it, and you don't want to owe him anything, you're on a date with him, you just want to get out of it, all you got to do is pick up the check. Okay? That's all you got to do. Because men don't like it when you show that you're their equal. And if you're funny, that's even better. Just let them see you write a fat tip and tell them a joke. Yeah, you'll be off the hook faster than a white boy shooting up a bunch of minorities. That's real quick. It's good. You guys are in it now. You asked for this. Why do you make me beat you? You asked for it. No, stuff like that. Like, I've been thinking so much. These last couple of years have just been so tough. And the week, the news this week is just, it's awful. And I don't take mass shooting lightly. And I care about it because every morning I have to kiss my son and send him off to school. And it's terrifying now these days. It's really scary. And I kind of want a gun. Like, I do, like, after the pandemic, like, I want a gun because I feel like that's where we're going in life. And I just don't want to be the last chump that believes in peace. You know what I mean? So I feel like it starts with toilet paper and then it ends with water. Like I feel like I want to get a gun. So I was like researching it and seeing all the things that you had to do. You had to get a ton of permits for it. You had to put in like so many hours. And it was like so much work. But I looked into, like, I saw this class that was titled Introduction to Handguns for Women. And I was like, what do they do in that class? They just hand you a pink gun and they're like, if you accidentally shoot somebody, you just got to tell the cops that you're on your period. Like, it's fine. I didn't even go, though, because it was an all-day thing for 2 days in a row and they didn't even provide lunch. So I was like, I am not compromising my values unless this shit is catered. Like, no, thank you. No, thank you. But it turns out I didn't even need to do all that stuff. Like, my cousin Lil Ray had a bunch just lying around his house. He gave me one of his. I mean, it's scratched out in certain areas. And, like, he said, if shit goes down, keep my name out your mouth. I don't really know what that meant. But, like, I think it's fine. Like, it's okay. Because in this country, we like to pretend that we care about gun control. Like, thoughts and prayers. The government pretends that they care about us. When in reality, they profit off of those structures that the little kindergartners have to hide in during active shooter training drills, right? It's like how I complain so much about Jeff Bezos, but like half my check goes to Amazon.com, But really, where else am I going to be able to overnight a tube of Vagisil and a rhinestone portrait of the Virgin Mary? Like, use your head, right? You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Like, that's what Harvey Dent said to Batman right before he became Two-Face. Like, it's science at this point. I don't know. Let's bring it back up a little bit. Is it okay if I do it one more time? Yeah. All right, let's do it back. Let's talk about something uplifting for once. Let's talk about divorce. Let's do it. I'm not divorced, but I did go through like this 2-year-long separation with my husband. And then when the pandemic happened, I was like, I can't raise this kid in the house all by myself. Just come home. And so it was very hard, but it was like the last time that I had been single, George W. Bush was the president. The first Star Wars prequels had come out the last time I was single. So I was basically like one of those pandas in captivity. Like, I was a danger to myself as well as to others out in the wild. It was all bad. And like, there was this guy and he was like trying to see me. And I was like, I don't know, because he was so much younger. And my friend was like, just do it. Just be a cougar and do it. And I was like, I don't know. She's like, just do it. Who cares? Just do it. And so I was like, all right, come over to my house. And he showed up in a shirt that I had just bought for my son. And I was like, you gotta go home. Like, yeah. And then I called my husband. I was like, baby, let's work it out. If Beyonce can forgive Jay-Z, I feel like I can forgive you. It's just come home. I was a mess that was very, very bad at dating because the whole game had changed. And I was never good at dating. And I really wasn't good at dating because I had no idea how to please a whole new generation of men, right? So apparently, like, I have to be choked now if I wanted to get a second date. And I'm not kink shaming, but I have way too many trust issues to be into something like that. Like, I was making out with a dude. He started choking me. I fucking stabbed that hoe. Just 2 long acrylic nails to the throat. Pop! Was like, oh, Wolverine your ass, bitch. Don't choke me. He didn't call me back, though. He ghosted me. And, I don't even know, what the cool thing is. Like, all right, like, you're a young, beautiful woman. Like, what's the pube situation like these days? I was like, if someone freezes up, they're like, I'm not telling you about my pubes. She said that she's completely bare down there, and that's crazy to me that women do that because, like, my friend was trying to impress her husband for their 10-year anniversary. And so she let an angry woman pour hot wax on her vagina and rip out all the hair so she could be like, look, baby, it's like I'm 12 years old down there. Let's do this. Happy anniversary. And I don't understand that. Like, I can't get it. I can't think of mentally where to go from there. It's just too crazy for me. I think if I were ever to sleep with somebody new again, right before I took off my Spanx, I'd have to say, look, bro, I hope that you like Australia, because you're about to go down under in the bush, okay? You guys, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. My name's Rhoda.
Give it up for Rhoda Ramone, everybody. Fantastic. So before we move on with the show, I think at this point it's the law. I just kind of have to know everybody's pubic hair situation. You don't have to say out loud. I'm just gonna point to you. You can kind of nod or like pubes. Okay, wonderful. I feel like we've all got to know each other so much better at this point now, and now the laughs are just gonna flow even more. I love this so much. I love this for us, really. Keep that going for your next comic, Sarah Dutcher.
Did I leap onto the stage really weird? Is that why you said all right?
No, I said all right because I was left hanging with
Oh, okay. Sorry. No, well, I made it weirder. Not to one-up you, but, I mean, I have the microphone. I grew up Mormon. That's why I seem like I'm ready to shake your hand and give you a pamphlet. It also means I found love the old-fashioned way. You know, getting married off at a young age. You know? Oh, okay, like, I thought it was romantic at the time. But, you know, I was still actually kind of old by Mormon standards. My bishop had to tell my husband, you know, she's 18, but she looks young. Like, I got out, you guys. It's fine. Always remember, I got out. Like, that's the key. Thank you for taking this seriously. I appreciate that. This is a heavy subject. No, it's not. My husband eventually took the divorce okay, but my sister wives were devastated. Yeah, Ginny is upset because I did all the baking. Kim was upset because I took the notes during the Secret Wives meetings. And, you know, Julia is upset because I was the only one who could make her come. Yeah, I know polygamy has its benefits. Let's just say that. Let's be honest. No, an actual real problem in my marriage was the pressure I felt to be like the cool girl. You know, like easygoing, spontaneous, knows what a linebacker is. But it turns out I'm a bitch. Yeah. You're also allowed to laugh at that too. I'm saying it's not offensive if I'm saying it. Yeah, I am a high maintenance nerd with a lot of anxiety. Like, people assume because I'm loud and I wear a lot of crop tops that I'm chill. But I can guarantee you I'm not. Yeah, like, I wouldn't describe myself as a people pleaser necessarily. I just want everyone here to like me more than they already do, which is like a healthy and attainable goal, I think. Like, I love when someone compliments me when they don't have to. Like, I got a massage and the masseuse called me skinny. Well, not technically. She said it was impressive how many knots I had in my back for having almost no muscle mass. I'll take it. That fucking counts. And I went to a dentist, and she congratulated me because all of my teeth are damaged from how hard I grind them at night. It's like, she didn't have to say that. She had to give me a retainer, though. And I went to a chiropractor, and he told me my bones are loose. Yeah. It's like the nicest thing a man has ever told me. I couldn't land a real doctor, but so I said that once at another show, and the woman just looked at me like this for the rest of the night. So if anyone's a chiropractor, I'll go to. Oh yeah, I'm like, can I get a discount? I lose bones, but I'm poor. No, actually, something that worked really well in my marriage, because we were married for 9 years. That's a long time when you get married at 18. Like something that worked really well was because shortly after we got married, he got hit by a car. Yeah. Another thing you're allowed to laugh out. It's my ex-husband, so it's funny. He actually got hit by a car, and that will change you as a person. You know, it made him more cynical and anxious. So it really brought him down to my level. You know, sometimes getting hit by a car could be good for your marriage, even if you're the one driving it. Girl boss, am I right? No? Is that what that means? I'm still reluctant to get on dating apps because I live on Watt Avenue. Okay, so you guys don't know about Watt Avenue. You know, they'll try to ship my car for parts, basically, and they've done it before. These guys are the last show. My car is a piece of shit, so. But even worse, I'm from Placerville, that gold rush town. So I can't date anyone from there. It's a lot of meth heads and Sasquatches. They like to call me exotic. I think it's because I still have all of my teeth. But like exotic, like I'm so generically white. My 23andMe results just said, yeah, bitch, you basic. Like I'm so blandly white, I bleed ranch dressing. It's gross. No, believe it or not, I did get racially profiled recently. Yeah, I went to a Mexican restaurant where they gave me flour tortillas without even asking. Little bisexual tortilla humor kind of niche. For out-of-towners, only white people order flour tortillas. So, yeah. Real ones order corn tortillas, and they saw this, and they're like, all right, pumpkin spice lattes and flour tortillas. I've been thinking a lot about what it means to be white, mostly because cops keep hitting on me. And I know that only means flirting if you're white. So it's both sad and a thinker. But one thing has become clear. Like, I am a basic white girl. I am. I'm not a white lady, though. Like, I've never called the cops on a family eating a picnic. Thank you. That's the bar. I'm more of a pumpkin spice latte kind of gal, you know? So it turns out I'm not a Karen. I'm more of a Becky, right? Thank you. I'm allowed to talk about this, actually. Kind of a sensitive subject. But my dad was actually killed by a cop. I know that, you know, it's tricky. My dad actually was a cop. You know, my dad killed himself. You know, cops, you know, they get upset and all of a sudden, you know how it goes. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. No, there is something about getting married at 18 while you're kind of in a cult, you know, just a little bit. Shortly after, you know, you don't really figure out your personality by 18, right? So I later discovered I'm pansexual. And in case anyone here doesn't know, that means I make sex sounds when shopping for kitchenware. Like, you guys would not believe this new meat thermometer I just bought. It's nasty. Like, I asked a guy to, like, rolling pin me against the counter until we got thrown out of Bed Bath & Beyond. I wish I were gayer, though. Like, I really do. Because I asked a guy out, and he said he's not emotionally available enough to date anyone because he has a dog. Oh my God. He knows words like emotionally available and he has a dog? Like, it turns out my type isn't Mormon. My type has a dog. I am what you might call a 2-for-1 special. you know. I have both mommy issues and daddy issues, right? Yeah. Just the knowing smile is what did it for me. No, like, you know, my daddy issues are what makes me a slut. Like, but my mommy issues are why I'm more likely to burn down your car afterward. You know, again, the knowing smile got me. No, yeah, it's, you know, you all heard about my dad, but, you know, turns out being a bitch is hereditary, so that's why I have mommy issues. All right, a bunch of people here like their moms. Good for you, or you've been to therapy. Like, it's one up me, I guess. I've been trying to raise my dating standards. Not literally, though. I prefer short guys, because 6'3" is far away, and I prefer to give a piggyback ride, right? Yeah. And I can't date anyone if they have a motorcycle because I have to be the most annoying person in the relationship. That's kind of my thing. And if I'm going to date someone, they have to have a real job. You know, no landlords, no stockbrokers. I don't even know what that job means. I want someone who's involved in their local economy, you know, like a drug dealer. And I can't date any dentists because they always end up being Mormon bishops. And I'm not comfortable with someone knowing all of my sins and my cavities. Like, that's too much. And I can't fuck anyone unless they're on anti-anxiety medications, right? I need them to feel like they have to prove themselves to me. No, actually, I said that on Twitter, and my DMs were flooded with pictures of guys' prescriptions. I got the script pic you always hear about. All right, thank you, Stab. You can follow me on social media instead of the street. All right, let's bring up our host. I said that so loud with no information.
Sarah Dutcher, everybody. Sarah Dutcher. All right. We've reached our headliner. Are you guys ready for your headliner? Yes? Of course you're ready for your headliner. Get it so much louder for that because they deserve it. Emily Peterson.
Let's keep it going for Corey and all the other comics you've seen tonight. And let's keep it going for me because I'm fat and I have a lisp and I need all the help I can get. Thank you. Thank you. It helps. I want to do more impressions in my act like Corey, but I can only do impressions of celebrities with lisps. And when they don't have a lisp, I insert one. Like, for instance, I do an Eddie Vedder, but something's wrong with it. Let me tell you. Let me see if you guys can catch it. It goes something like, "Son," she said, "have I got a little story for you? A man you thought was your daddy." Something like, yeah. I'll work on it more. I learned something about my gynecologist recently. I learned that he gets irrationally upset if I go in for STD tests twice in the same fiscal quarter. Like, the first time was totally normal. It was like what you would expect from a medical procedure. But when I went back a couple of weeks later, it was like a completely different guy. And he couldn't have been less professional if he came in on a skateboard, high-fived me, and said, "What's up, slut?" Like, he didn't do that, but he didn't have to. Like, he got a little slut-shamey, he got a little overly familiar, went into the procedure like, "Oh, I've been here before." And the whole procedure was really awkward. And then at the end, he's coming out of me, you know, like they do. They have to. Otherwise, yeah, I'd have a new roommate. But he came out of me. He decides he has to say something to me. He looks me dead in the eyes, and he says, "You know you're overweight, right?" You know, like you like people to say after they've been inside of you for 15 minutes. And I was taken aback to be sure, but I was like, "Okay, tell me, if I'm overweight, what's my goal weight?" Maintains eye contact, cold like a serial killer. He says, "How about you lose 20 pounds, and then we'll discuss your goal weight." Brutal. And I know that sounds fucked up, but I was really glad the exam was over at that point because I got extremely aroused. Because guys who are funny in a mean way, that's like my primary dating demographic. I was looking for a wedding ring. He had one. I'm working on it. But he wasn't wrong. I have gained a lot of weight recently. My scale and my credit score are in a race to 250. And they are neck and neck, you guys. They are neck and neck. And that joke was 200 not too long ago. It's getting dire. And it's a funny situation because I've entered a new category of overweightness that I like to call worried about breaking chairs fat. I've become extremely wary of certain seating arrangements. And that's a weird position for me to be in because I'm not used to destroying things with my ass. I'm used to having my ass destroyed. You know, little anal humor. But I do want to lose the weight. I want to lose the weight pretty bad. Not bad enough to do anything about it, apparently. But I do want to lose the weight. But I'm worried I want to lose it for the wrong reasons. And this is going to get a little dark, but you guys can hang, right? Okay. I want to lose the weight in case I ever go missing. I want people to actually look for me. I know that sounds fucked up, but this is a real fear of mine. I feel like there's a direct correlation between how long it takes you to get a drink at a bar and how long it would take people to find your dead body. And that's how bad it is. I'm not expecting to be found alive. Like, I'm a cold case at this point. A cold case. And I was reading about that Gabby Petito situation. You guys remember Gabby Petito? That TikToker whose boyfriend like hit her and stashed her somewhere in the woods. That's not the funny part. But I was reading about the Gabby Petito situation, and while they were looking for Gabby Petito, they found something like 9 other dead bodies. 9 other dead bodies, which honestly is my nightmare, like to be found during someone else's search effort. How embarrassing. Like, I want to be found during my search effort, like with my name on the flyer, you know? Like, I don't know if that's too much to ask for, but yeah, and I do feel bad about that joke because a lot of people get upset for me on my behalf when I tell it. They'll come up to me and they'll be like, Emily, people would definitely look for you because you have such a great personality, which first of all, ouch. Second of all, not true. I'm like famously unfriendly. That's like my thing. And if I had to choose between getting a good personality and getting hot, it's getting hot every time for me. I've seen both sides. I've been hot before. Like, I would like to go back. And if that makes me kind of a bitch, so be it. I'll be a hot bitch. I'm into it. But it's not all my fault that I gained the weight. I started a new antipsychotic medication, which isn't as scary as it sounds, I'm here to say. It's not like I came out here and I was like, I'm on new psychotic medication. Like, that would be really scary. I would be scared. Deep, deep, deep inside, I would be scared. I'd probably be mostly quite emboldened. But the antipsychotic, it made me gain like 40 pounds, and it killed my sex drive. Like, nobody's home. It's like purely decorative at this point, just kind of ties the legs together. And at first I was kind of bummed about losing my sex drive, but I was also a little bit psyched because with losing my sex drive on an antipsychotic, it proved to me that my attraction to men is a symptom of psychosis, which I had suspected for a while. But even though I'm not horny anymore, I still masturbate because you gotta. It's good for you. And it's like my only source of exercise. Sometimes I'll cheat though, I'll skip arm day and I'll use my plug-in vibrator and I feel like I'm making love to my house. Anybody else feel like they make love to their house? Now you will. But when you're not horny, porn is disturbing. And I ended up like traumatizing myself and getting a lot of weird ideas about the world. Because when you're horny, you don't have disgust. It gets like turned off and you're fine. But when you're out there like trying to elicit some response from the dead zone, things get a little sketchy. And I ended up getting like a lot of weird ideas about the world. Like I now know for a fact that when, not if, but when aliens invade, they're definitely gonna wanna fuck us. There's a lot of tentacles on the internet. I've seen like 90% of them. I recommend doing some light stretching and getting cool with a lot of weird stuff real quick because they're out there. It's been discussed. It's known. you know what to do. But yeah, I kind of gave up on porn eventually, and now I get off to concepts, like the idea of achieving my goals. And my favorite is the idea of home ownership. Like you can watch like threesomes all day, but nothing will elicit the response of imagining you're coming home to the home you own with the wraparound covered porch, yard for the dog, fireplace, exposed beams. I'm getting a little horny. But I do want to buy a house. I want to buy a house real bad here in California, and that's a tricky proposition right now. I don't know if you guys have seen the housing market. It's crazy. And that makes me I wonder like why the housing market in California is so hot. Because they say we're just going to get swallowed by the ocean eventually, right? And that makes me wonder, like if your house gets covered up by the ocean, are you at least entitled to the water above your property? Because if everything you own gets swept into the sea, you should at least get a kick-ass place to park your boat, right? Which is another dream of mine, boat ownership. I love them. I love them so cute. They're so cute. Have you guys ever written a suicide note so good, you're like, maybe I should do it? No, me either. No, that would be weird. Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm fine unless I spend too much time thinking about all the losers who've seen me naked. There's a lot. I'll just be minding my business. Oh, the guy with the cats. God damn it. Or like, the flat earther. Oh, God damn it. That lasted way longer than it should have. Or, the anti-vaxxer. God damn it, Emily. What's wrong with you? But before the pandemic, I'd had enough. I almost gave up on men entirely, which is a luxury I have. I'm a non-binary, pansexual human being. And I was trying to put off more gay vibes in the hopes of attracting a female. So, you guys picking up on my gay vibes? I don't think I ever actively turned them off. But it was working. It was working one night. I was in this crowded bar, and this cute hipster chick came up to me, and she was like, hey, you want to buy me a drink? Which struck me as odd. And I was like, okay. Thanks for assuming you're the cute one. Debatable. I still don't know how that works in gay situations. But when you're like a female presenting person on the internet, you get approached by a lot of unicorn hunters. Do you guys know what unicorn hunters are? Most of you do. If you don't, a unicorn couple is a couple who is looking for a very special guest star to join them in the bedroom. And that would make the unicorn the young lady who's willing to fuck that couple, right? But I'm a unicorn hunter. And I like to look for unicorn hunters that have wedding pictures on their dating profiles. That's like my favorite thing. I feel like that's a strictly 21st century invention. I don't think people were going around in the 40s with their wedding portraits saying, this is the happiest day of our life. Do you want to help us recreate this joy? Like, I feel like that's something only us people have experienced. But I did eventually manage to fall in love with a man. I have a boyfriend now. We'll see. We'll see how that works. I almost didn't go for it because he's a nerd who likes sports. And I feel like you can't trust a nerd who likes sports. I feel like it's not natural. I feel like if you play Dungeons and Dragons, you shouldn't be allowed to have an opinion on how the Rams are doing. You know? It's just weird. But we did start dating, and it's going pretty well. We listen to a lot of music together. Most recently, we were listening to that Bruno Mars song, Grenade. Do you guys know it? The Bruno Mars song, Grenade. Oh, you want me to sing it? Okay. It goes something like, I'd catch a grenade for ya, put my hand on a blade for ya, jump in front of a train for ya. But the whole reason for the song is Bruno would do all this stuff for this woman, and she won't do the same. But I think that's good. Because, like, what's the point of having two grenade catchers in one relationship? I feel like every relationship should have a designated grenade catcher, train runner in front of, hand blade grabber, because that gives the other person valuable time to escape. Am I right? So I was having this conversation with my partner, a very important conversation you should have with your partner. Am I the grenade catcher or are you the grenade catcher? Am I the grenade catcher or are you the grenade catcher? And finally, after we went back and forth a couple times, I won, and it's me. I get to be the grenade catcher, and hopefully that'll get me out of this fucking nightmare a little bit sooner. Thank you guys. You've been a lot of fun. Thank you for hanging out at Stab. Let's bring your host, Corey, back up here.
Emily Peterson, one more time, everybody. Oh, my God. I just want to get sappy for a moment, just a brief moment before I let you guys leave and go on with your lives. Thank you so much for being here tonight, because this really was thrown together very last minute. I know we had some people who just wandered in off the streets for a comedy show. You didn't know what you were going to get, and you got something wonderful. Hopefully you got an experience that you could tell your friends about, because that's what this room is. This is the little venue that could. We only survive by your word of mouth, telling people of how cool this place is, because it's a breeding ground for creativity. And I love being a part of it, and I love that you were a part of it tonight. Have a wonderful night. Get home safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you all for coming out. That is the end of our programming for this evening. But we do stuff around here 6 nights a week. Check out stabcomedytheater.com for the full calendar of events. We'll be back here on Monday with Happy Time Arcade. You know what? I just told you to check out the calendar. You figure out what's happening then. Hope to see you again. Have a good night, everybody. Online audience, where are we sending you? Who's doing shows? How about we throw you at Cinema Insomnia? Why not? Let's throw you over to Mr. Lobo. Get some Cinema Insomnia. Hold on for the raid. See you guys Monday.